There we go. Okay. So we'll still keep working today, as I was saying earlier, hip, the front and the hip flexor, which will help our lower back. So that's why we're also working the back as well today. Um, I think I want us to test first, because as you know, I like to test, and then we can retest at the end of the class so you see if there's change. So two ways. Actually, I'll make you all stand up. We'll test our hip flexor, but we can do it two ways. The traditional, oh, grabbing our leg, seeing how's the front of the thigh or even the hip flexor feeling. So test both. This way, I like to do it more than one way, so we have an idea. Okay, that's how it feels. You do it once or twice. And then we'll go simply half kneeling, tucking our pelvis, and then opening up or testing the front of our hip. So let's just test a few times just to make sure. There we go. Just making sure really tucking the pelvis, go in the front. Pay attention, is there one side, left, right, feeling a little tighter or a little more burny, whatever, just to have an idea how it feels. And then when we come back, or at the end, we come back and we can test them again. So yeah, if Lindsay, if you didn't, please test quickly the half kneeling, see how it feels, and then we'll get back to those. I also sometimes like to even go, especially because we're going to work spine and hip, our normal torso rotation, just seeing, ooh, where am I? Oh, I've been actually doing these exercises a lot today, so now I'm feeling good. But when we do a rotation, our hips are involved in this particular rotation, our spine is involved. So also it's just another way to see, oh, how do I feel today? And then we'll get back to it. So I wanted to start with a little bit of nerve flossing. We call it, it's the femoral nerve. So which normally feeds in the hip flexor, the quadricep, the front of the leg. But also if all of this feels tight, that will have an impact on our low back. Super important on the bike also. So we're going to do a little bit of nerve flossing, kind of, you may have heard is, and I'm just going to grab something for my knees. You may also want something for your knees. Nerve flossing could be just your nerve not moving well in its, now I'm searching my word in English, but not really moving well in its envelope. Or it could just be sticky at some area. So we just want to get it to move well. And remember, nerves is what feed your muscle. So for nerve flossing, there's two ways. I know for me, I need to go put the foot against something, the wall, or I earlier stand at a big ball, so something so that my leg is elevated. But if you are so tight in the front, that might actually just be better to be in foot flat. So I want you to try before you put the foot elevated. See, so we're in a half kneeling position. Either this is going to be better for you down like this, or, and this is what it would look like against the wall. So just I'll do it half. Well, actually, I can even do it this way. Or foot elevated against something. If it's like me, the box is a little uncomfortable. You can also put something for your foot. So I'm gonna go half kneeling, but again, feel free to try and see if the foot down is better. So I'm gonna put my right foot here, left foot up. I'm in a half kneeling. I'm gonna really think about tucking my pelvis. Now already I'm feeling a little bit of a burn in the front. And when we do a nerve flossing, think of it on a scale of 1 to 10, and you can have the wall or something to keep you balanced. I wanted a 3 out of 10. I don't want this to be painful or so burny that you can't breathe. So it's a light stretch if you want. So pelvis tuck. I'm going to slightly lean forward. I'm going to turn myself so that you guys can see better. So you saw already the first two move. So tuck the pelvis, slightly lean forward, maintaining your tuck pelvis. You should start feeling that here. And then, I mean, you don't have to have your arms here. I like that. I'm going to side bend away from that right hip or the one I'm stretching. So you should maybe even feel a little bit more of the burn here. I side bend away or towards the leg that is in front. That's helpful. And then we're going to do some rotation of the torso. So I side bend, rotate. towards that front leg. So you should feel that in the front. Maintain all of these three positions. So pelvis tuck, forward, torso side bend, and rotated. And just do some slight forward motion. Kind of just moving that nerve. I'm leaning, slight leaning forward and then back. My pelvis is going forward, my whole body is going forward. Let's go for 10 of these slight forward lean. Good. Once you do it the first time, it's a little bit hard to remember, okay, I have actually 4 motion I got to maintain as I'm doing this forward lean. Good. So now I'm going to go, we'll switch. For me, it'll be the left leg up. Once again, you decide if you want the foot up or not. Bring the other leg up in a half kneeling. Tuck the pelvis. Slightly lean forward, maintaining the pelvis tuck. I like my arms here, don't have to have them there. Slightly side bend away from the leg or towards the front leg, if that's. Rotate your torso. So you're side bending, rotating. We're maintaining all of these and 10 little forward. So you should just feel a slight little burn in the front. 3 out of 10, nothing hard. Don't forget to maintain your pelvis tucked. That's often the one we will lose. And the side bend. Whew. And then slowly get out of it. Great. So now what we're going to do, because we need to see, did that help? Retest. If you want, you can go back to standing, retest this leg. See, either you go further or it feels not as burning the front of the leg, your quad. Retest both once or twice. I know this is definitely better for me. And you can also retest your rotation. Whew, maybe that opened up a lot. So just retest. Always good to know, did that make a change for you? Because not everything will make a change for everyone. So hopefully that helped lighting up a little bit of the tension. There we go, good. So we can always review this nerve flossing later. It's super good, especially if you like cyclists, we often talk about our hip flexor or quadricep burning. Well, sometimes it's not a muscle issue, could be a nerve issue. So here we go. So first one we're gonna do, since we kind of floss this nerve, let's kind of add a little load. So we're again in a half kneeling. And earlier I noticed if you feel like you have balance a little bit off, I say use your foam roller if you need a little bit of kind of keep yourself for balance. So this one is going to be a really slow one. So think of again, we're moving through molasses. So let's start with the right knee down. So right knee down, same thing, we're going to tuck the pelvis. And now we're going to lean a little forward, just a little bit until you kind of get that first barrier, keeping your pelvis tucked. Now you're going to think about that, the glute of that same side is engaging, and a glute, really the posterior chain, is its job is to extend your hips. So if it engage, it should move us a little forward. So I'm feeling this working. I moved a little forward. And now it's my hip flexor, the front, that are going to work. So engage those, which bring me back to standing upright. So we're going to do that 5 times. Glutes firing. So basically making an extension at the hip. They're working. Then my hip flexor are going to engage and bring me back. The opposite leg really doesn't work. It's just keeping us in balance. Let's do that 3 more times. Engage the back. Moving a little bit in extension. I don't have that much. We don't all have that much. And then engage the hip flexor, bringing you back to upright. Let's do 2 more. Forward, engaging glute. Now time for the hip flexor. Good, 1 more. Get this working. And engage the flexor. So it should be a little bit should feel that in the front mainly. And that's generally where we feel it the most. Let's go with the other leg. Left knee down, pelvis tucked, slightly lean forward. Now I'm feeling a little bit of the front. Now I'm going to engage my posterior chains, glutes, so which by doing that, it brings my hip in extension, so meaning I'm moving forward. Now I'm engaging a hip flexor, back to start. Let's do 4 more like this. Get the back, then the hip flexor to work. So it's really little. We're not moving a whole lot. Especially hip extension, we don't have that many degrees of extension. 5 times. Hopefully you're feeling here. This is the glutes working, and then the hip flexor bringing me back. Good. Might feel a little work in the front. So we're gonna go, one that we did, I know, and I can't remember if it was the prior session or 2 sessions ago. We worked our, well, we did last week also, we were in the quadruped, that internal rotation. Well, we're gonna work it in a side lying. I'm gonna make us do 2 or 3 on each side just to see how that feels. And we might just do a little bit of coordination motion as well. So let's go side lying. I like to just put my hand under so it's nice and comfortable. Don't let kind of the spine crash on the floor. Think of keeping it, you should have a little room for your hand. So you gotta engage here. Bring the top leg up. So my top leg is up, or if that helps, parallel to the floor. Now I'm gonna bring while my quadricep, because now we know what the quadricep is, keep that in place, move the hip joint so that the foot goes up towards the ceiling. Back to center. Now move your quadricep or your knee up towards the ceiling without the low back working. So let's do 2 more. Up, internal rotation, external rotation. Good. Excellent. For the one I can see. So it should feel smooth. But I want us, before we do many repetition, I just really want to go verify or compare both sides. Because it might, one side that feels a little more, less smooth and more like kind of a, I don't know how to describe that, but kind of does not feel smooth. So just pay attention between the 2 sides. So we're again on our side. There's a little bit of room for my hand. So I'm engaged, if that makes sense. Bring the top leg up. My knees are bent, I should have mentioned. Quadriceps stay parallel to the floor. I rotate my hip. So that means my foot though goes up. Back to center. Quadricep is still parallel. Now the knee goes up. So it's external rotation. Back to internal rotation, foot going up. Then knee going up. So think of the head of your femur. That's what's moving in the hip joint. And I like it this way because we're going against gravity, so you definitely are feeling your muscle working here. Good. Like I said, I just wanted to do a few one. If there is one side that feels, like I said, not as a smooth motion, but just kind of ratchet, then remember, I don't know if we talked about it this way. You can always stand up, bring the leg in front, the foot or the leg, heel stay down, and you can just do a little bit of coordination. So that just activates our cerebellum, coordination of motion. So if you can do the right for about 10 seconds, and then do the left. Good. There we go. So just do those, about 10 seconds per side. And we'll go back on the floor and do 2 or 3 of these hip dissociation that we were doing. So basically, lumbar area should not be involved. It's just your head of the femur moving. So let's go back on the floor. Up, I'm laying on my right side, nice and engaged. Bring the top leg parallel to the floor. I'm gonna do 3 more of these same motion we just worked and we practice. See if maybe even that feels smoother or better range just by activating our center of what controls our movement. Cerebellum, there we go, good. And if that helps, you can put your hands on your lower back to make sure that the lower back is not taking over. So it truly is the femur, the head of the femur moving. There we go. So 2 or 3 on each side. See if that helped. Great. So once again, we need that, especially the internal rotation for a better flexion. And we're working our hip flexor here again. Absolutely needed on the bike. Good. Good. I see foot moving up and down. Great. Excellent. I mentioned we were going to work last week we did flexion of the spine and kind of extension as well when we were finishing in that W. Now we're going to go and do side bending of the spine. So we're going to all stand up. We're going to actually do an isometric contraction. So first, as I like, let's just test your side bending. See, is there one side feeling a little stickier? Well, maybe I can feel lower back here. Just pay attention, do a few. So normally if I was to have all the time in the world and we had everyone hooks and band or a strap, we would put a strap to do this isometric resistance. But now we're going to use our hands. So basically I'm going to side bend on my right side. So I remember how that felt. Okay. So I'm going to put my hand, I'm going to slightly side bend, and I'm actually kind of pushing a little bit with my hand and resisting with the spine. So I'm kind of holding a contraction here with my spine. And for good isometric, so my hand is really, think of your sternum almost right here, or where you would put your heart rate strap. There we go. So my hand is here, I'm side bending, and I'm resisting my side bending with my hand. So my arm is engaged too. And for the isometric to really work, we got to hold it a few seconds, more than 5. So I'm looking at the clock. We're going to go close to a minute. Side bend. So I'm trying to go side bend further, but my hand is resisting me. And slowly get out of it. Let's just go again, side bend. Does that feel like you're going a little further? You could have paid attention how far your hands was going or if it was stiff. Now we're going to do the other side. So same thing, hands where would be your heart rate strap. So now side bend to the opposite side, resist with your hand. You're trying to push your spine against your hand. We're going to hold that about close to a minute. Good. Excellent. So keep it up. Slight engagement. So resist with your hand. You're not letting your spine side bend more. So again, hand is high. It's near where your heart rate strap would be. Not exactly a minute, but we're going to call it a minute. Slowly come out of it. Excellent. Same thing. Go again. See, can you feel a little bit more range of motion? And even retest your rotation. That definitely cleaned up some things. Later, we're going to do it with a little load. Good. So now we opened up the front, the hip flexor. We work our spine. We're going to kind of put a flow together. We have 2 options. One of them will not get as much spine, which we've done many, many times, our tabletop, which opens up the hip flexor. So that's where we have hands and feet wider than our hips. We're going to push feet and hands on the floor to just open up. So we can do that option as option 1. And if you do that, we're going to do 10 of these. Or we're going to do the crab, which now we go instead of having 4 points of contact on the floor, we're going to go to 1. I'm going to reach and also kind of reach back. So I'm almost side bending too with my spine and back. So let's give this one a try, at least everyone once. So I'm going to go, right arm is kind of here in front of me. I'm going to push both feet and my one arm up, and I'm going to try to reach towards my left hand, the one that's on the floor, and back. So give it a try. Let's do the other side. So now it's my right hand on the floor. I'm going to push, and my left hand wants to go towards my right hand, and back. So that's option 2. So you have a choice to do even a mix of both. If you go with just the tabletop opening the hip flexor, go for 10. And if you're doing the crab, let's go 5 per side. So I'll let you pick because both exercises are good. You just want to go where you feel is the right place to start for today. So crab or tabletop. If it's tabletop, we're doing 10. If it's the crab, it's 5 per side. The only difference with the crab is we're getting a little bit of the spine. So we're definitely loading up a little bit more. Up. We're doing 2 rounds, so hopefully that should feel also a little smoother on round number 2. Great. Good. Fantastic. Good. So we're going back into a half kneeling position. So I'll let you all finish. If you need something for your knees, you put it under, grab it. We're going back to that half kneeling. Opening up the front of the joint. Once again, if you need something, also be near the wall if you need a little balance. That's fine. So we're going to tuck the pelvis. So it's my right knee down. Tuck the pelvis. Forward lean a little bit. So now in my start position. I'm going to engage my right glute, which create an extension of my leg. So my knee going behind me. Now I'm going to get my hip flexor to engage. They're bringing me back into start position. We do that 5 times. Extend. Back to center. So it's not my opposite leg doing the work. It's all the one with the knee on the floor. Open. Engage. And I didn't mention, but in this half kneeling position, do what feels right. Foot flat or toes tucked under. Good. If you need the wall for balance, that's fine. 5 total. Once again, it's not one that we move fast. Good. Tuck, a little forward lean, engage. So it creates extension. Back to start. Engage, good. Once again, it's not big or a lot of range. It's still small range. Good. Great. Good. Fantastic. So now we're back to our side lying hip internal external rotation. Because it's round number 2, I'm actually going to make you do 10 per side. So let's all go on our left side. So lay on our left side, make sure the pelvis is stacked. And I have a little bit of room under my middle back or low back here. Lift the top leg. There we go. And now let's go into 10 of those a hip, internal, external rotation. Once again, it's the head of the femur moving in your joint. But because we're going against gravity, definitely need to be working. So it's basically active, not passive. Good. Let's go for 10 of those two motion on this side, and then we'll switch. Good. So the motion in our low back should be really minimal here. We want to definitely dissociate the hip from the pelvis. So when you're done and switch side, once again, position yourself. Don't let the back kind of flop on the floor, nice and engage. Good. Great. And to have good hip flexion, we definitely need to have good dissociation here, or movement of the femur freely from the pelvis. And we definitely need a lot of flexion on the bike. Good. So 10 per side. Good. If you're curious as you're finishing, remember last week we did this motion to the in the quadruped position. Really, we did the same thing. It was just one. We only did the internal rotation. You can always retest. Does that feel different? Definitely feels open. Always good to retest so we see where we're at. Great. This is more just curiosity. We want to know if the work pays off. Then we're going to go back to standing. We're doing our isometric side bending. Remember, the hands, really think of your heart rate strap. It's going to be here. So I'm going to apply a little bit of resistance with my hand. And I'm going to side bend a little bit here with my spine, resisting against that hand or that arm. I'm going to hold that roughly close to a minute, but maybe 45 seconds. So keep resisting or pushing. Good. Hold another 15 seconds. Right. Another 5. Good. Excellent. Slowly come out of it. Not exactly a minute, but that's okay. We're going to add load after. So same thing. Hands here. Put pressure with the hand and with your spine. Resist or push against the hand. Roughly again. Might be more of a 45 second, and then we're going to do it actively after. Good. Think about really kind of a, I don't know what would be the, kind of a half of a rainbow if we want here with our spine. Keep it up a little bit, more pressure. Good. And come out of it. So what we're going to do now, grab a small weight. It's not about how it's not heavy. We don't want a heavy here, just a small weight. We're going to do our side bending, but we have a little load here. So I'm going to first always start with my head, and then my cervical goes, and then upper thoracic, and I'm going to side bend. So this should be really light, my weight, and then slowly unwind. So now I start from lumbar, lower thoracic, come back out of it, one segment at a time. Let's go 5 total. Once again, we're moving really slow. We're just adding a little load and then come out of it. The spine is meant to move. We just got to teach it to sustain this load. That's why we started with an isometric contraction, and now we're doing an active one. Good. Only 5. And don't push it. Just go wherever that first barrier, breath, and out of it. Good. And then you can switch. Same thing. Maybe one side moves a little better. Side bend. Great. Good. I think because I'm looking at camera, it makes me a little dizzy. You can close your eyes if that's easier. Good. Great. Fantastic. We're going to retest everything after, but we have one more to do. So we have our tabletop or the crab. So let's go again here on the floor. Always position nice and comfortable. Your hands, put them the direction they want to go. Don't force them totally behind you if that doesn't want to go. Feet and hands are wider than the hips and shoulder. You have two options, 10 tabletop or 5 crab per side. You can alternate your crabs or do all of them on the same side, your choice, and then switch. So really pick what feels right for you. Good. Great. So we're again working in our range of motion of each joint here, but we're just adding a little load. We're going against gravity. So nice and slow. Or really, we want it to be in control. It's not slow, it's just in control in the speed you're taking. Good. Great. So now we opened up the hip flexor, we did some good nerve flossing, and we worked the spine. So let's just retest everything. Get back in that half kneeling position when we tested earlier in the beginning. See how does that feel? I did like when I did actually test standing for me. So now I remember that. So I'll go here, test. Is it less spicy in the front? Just whichever one you like to test. See if there's a difference. Maybe it's lighting up a little less in the quadricep, hip flexor area. And then because we work internal rotation, obviously hip flexor, but internal, external rotation of the hip, retest your torso rotation because the hips are also involved, the spine is involved. Hopefully that's moving a lot freer. And if it does, then it's really telling you how hips can have such an impact in your back or spine rotation. We often think, oh, it's just a spine, but often it's the hip. So could work. Hopefully that feels good. If you feel like the nerve flossing helped, rewatch this video and definitely keep that in your repertoire. This is a good one to keep when hip flexor are a little spicy and acting up. So